Hello viewers, and welcome to a brand new episode of Trashtalk on Fabula Ultima, a series where I talk about the various classes you can mix together to create your desired heroic characters in your Fabula Ultima campaign. In today's episode, Elementalist. Battle Mage, Geomancer, Sorcerer. Elementalist is those who has learned to channel the souls that flow within the basic elements of creation, air, earth, fire, and water. In terms of mechanic, Elementalist is just a magic class that uses the elemental power of natural disaster to destroy their foes with big damage, and also do other things. It is recommended that you get high insight and willpower stat if you are picking Elementalist as your primary class, but also not quite, as you will soon find out, and if you notice that something was kinda missing, you didn't, you saw nothing. Anyway, let's talk about the free benefits you get as a Elementalist first. Like other magic classes, picking Elementalist can permanently increase your max MP by 5, and also lets you perform rituals that fall under Ritualism discipline. Nothing unusual here. Now, let's move on to the Elementalist skills, starting with Cataclysm. Cataclysm, when you cast an instantaneous spell, if you have an arcane weapon equipped, you may increase the spell's total MP cost by up to 30 MP. If you do so and the spell deals damage to one or more creatures, deal 5 extra damage for each 10 MP you have increased. Essentially, you get more damage the more MP you have put in, and some keen-eyed viewers might have noticed that the skill benefits multi-hit spells dramatically, as the MP increases is to the total MP cost and not to individual spell, so go wild with blowing people up, unless I'm wrong, in which case don't. Next, Elemental Magic, is just a skill that lets you learn one elemental spell for each level, and there's a lot of options that we will talk about later. This use insight plus willpower. Then there's Magical Artillery. When you cast an offensive spell with arcane weapon equipped, you gain a bonus to your magic check equal to skill level times 2. Essentially, your magic attack is now more likely to hit, even spells of other classes, as long as you are using an arcane weapon. Keep that in mind. Next is Ritual Elementalism. You may perform rituals that fall within Elementalism discipline, exactly what it said. If you need some examples of how Elementalism rituals look like, just watch like the entire Avatar series, except the movie, or Bionicle, except the fourth one. This uses insight plus willpower. And finally, Spellblade. This is an interesting skill. When you cast offensive spell at a single creature, if the spell has a total MP cost of skill level times 10 or lower, and you have one or more of bow, brawling, dagger, flail, spear or sword weapons equipped, you may choose to, instead of rolling a magic check, use a chosen weapon's accuracy check instead. Now this changes the game entirely, especially for players that want to play those magic using character that also beat the shit out of people. No longer do you need to juggle your stats, just use the same dice to roll for both physical attack and magic spell. That said, your power level is gonna lessened as you can't use Cataclysm skill for this, nor is it compatible with Magical Artillery and Ritual Elementalism or just Ritualism in general really. You can definitely, of course, play an Elementalist that uses both wand and sword at once, but then you kinda miss the point of using the skill in the first place. Now, let's talk about the Elementalist spells, of which there's 12 of them, so it will be hard to get them all, starting with Elemental Shroud, a spell that, for 5 MP per target, up to 3, you can grant them resistance to an elemental damage till the end of the scene, whether that's air, bolt, earth, fire, or ice, meaning, if the enemies use elemental damage of any kind, half the time, you can make your entire team tanky to them. Only problem is, you can't do it to yourself. Second, Elemental Weapon, for 10 MP, you can switch your weapon to an elemental damage type, air, bolt, earth, fire, or ice. It's the same as other elemental damage buff on weapon, like Entropist's Dark Weapon, but now you have more options to choose from, letting you target enemies' elemental vulnerability more easily, in general. Third, Flare, for 20 MP, you set people on fire for high roll plus 25 fire damage. This damage can pierce through resistance, it's lethal to say the least for sure. Fourth, Fulgur, for 10 MP per target, up to 3, you shoot lightning at your foes, dealing up to high roll plus 15 worth of bolt damage, and upon critical success, can also daze your enemies too, reducing their insight dice, very useful. Fifth, Glacis, for 10 MP per target, up to 3, you freeze up the enemies for high roll plus 15 worth of ice damage, and upon critical success, you can slow them, reducing their dex, hitting physical attack enemies harder. Sixth, Iceberg, for 20 MP, you freeze a target into solid ice, dealing high roll plus 25 worth of ice damage. This goes right through resistance. 7th, Ignis, for 10 MP per target, up to 3, you can see people fire, dealing high roll plus 15 fire damage each. Upon critical success, you can make them shaken too, reducing their willpower dice, good against mages. 8th, Soaring Striker, for 10 MP on yourself, you can immediately perform a free melee attack that can cut even flying birds with wind. This can force them to land immediately, thus allowing your heavy melee hitter to beat the shit out of them, and also, if you use brawling or spear weapons, you can deal 5 extra damage, pretty good for spell sword elementalist. 9th, Terra, for 10 MP per target, up to 3, you send giant ground spike through your foes, dealing high roll plus 15 earth damage. This spell cannot target those flying in mid-air or just be in mid-air for any reasons. Upon critical success, each target performs 1 fewer spells next turn, down to a minimum on 0, good for shutting down enemy, if you can hit them. 10th, Thunderbolt, for 20 MP, you strike one target with a big lightning bolt, dealing high roll plus 25 bolt damage, again, this goes through resistance. 11th, Ventura, for 10 MP per target, up to 3, you use the power of wind against your enemies, dealing high roll plus 15 air damage. Upon critical success, any flying target hit by the spell is forced to land immediately. And finally, 12th, Vortex, for 10 MP on yourself, you have a gale of wind surrounding you, repelling arrows and even bullets away, until the end of the scene. You gain +2 bonus to your defense against ranged attack, good for when you kept getting shot at. Upon putting 10 levels into Elementalist, you have now mastered it and can pick a heroic skill for it. There are currently 9 Elementalist specific heroic skills, 2 in core rulebook, 3 in high fantasy, 1 in techno fantasy, 1 in natural fantasy, and 2 in 6th Fabula Ultima bonus supplement. First in the core rulebook, powerful spell, which just increases your spell damage. It's practical, I suppose. Then there's Volcano, which is exactly what it sounds like. For 40 MP, choose one, deal 50 fire damage to one target, or 30 to all. This damage increase as you level up, ignores resistances and immunities, and also you do not roll to hit at all, it just hits. Which is very powerful for sure. I also like to mention extra spells, which can give you more spell slots, and also extra MP to give yourself more magic juice. These are heroic skills that have no restriction, but is going to be very useful for Elementalist either way. Next in the High Fantasy Atlas, there's Bimagus, which can also be unlocked by Entropist and Spiritist. Its description is lengthy, but basically, this heroic skill lets you cast 2 magic spells at once with lower MP cost, very useful for heavy magic user. Then there's Fast Rituals, which can also be unlocked by Chimerist, Entropist, and Spiritist, in which you, well, finish rituals faster. That's basically it really. Next there's Magic Guard, that can, again, be unlocked by Chimerist, Entropist, and Spiritist, and can also be used to shut down enemies' magic spell if you are on guard, useful on the defense. In Techno Fantasy Atlas, there's just Arcane Soldier, that can also be unlocked by Sharpshooter and Weapon Master, and also requires 2 offensive spells at least. In essence, you can cut and shoot spell at people at once, less damage due to high roll not being counted in, but it's more useful if you just wants the effect, and also look cool and roll more dices I suppose. Moving on to Natural Fantasy Atlas, there's Bend Magic, which can also be unlocked by Entropist, Invoker, and Symbolist, which again, requires the Invoker's Invocation skill, so we gonna leave this for next time. Next in the 6th Fabula Ultima supplement, there's Flow of Yin or Yang, which can also be unlocked by Dancer, Esper, and Invoker. Finally, something actually new, when you deal Dark, Earth, Ice or physical damage for the first time during a turn, you get 1 Yin point. If you have at least 1 Yang point you deal 5 extra damage. When you deal air, bolt, fire, or light damage for the first time during a turn, you get 1 Yang point, and vice versa. At the end of your turn, if you have 3 or more Yin and or Yang points, and at least 1 of each, you lose all the points and can perform one of the following effects. Both in the case of draw, with Yin majority, every enemy on scene lose half your level worth of MP, with Yang majority, one creature you can see recover your level worth of MP. In short, this heroic skill wants you to play with as many elements as possible, and this can lets you depletes enemies' MP supply or resupply your allies too, very useful. Lastly, there's Nether Slash, which can also be unlocked by Darkblade, Pilot, and also requires the Shadow Strike skill. To summarize, you can gain resistance to either fire or ice when you use this high impact skill, and also you can use it to cut down birds. Elementalist is truly a bird hater class. And that's basically it on Elementalist, magic user that have decided that being elevated to natural disaster is a pretty good thing. Now go and fulfill your inner destructive desire. That's all for now, and I will see you all next time. Hello there, if you like this video, please subscribe and click that notification bell button. If you want to see the videos early as well as further support my channel, you can join in my Patreon page, or buy me some coffee, links in the description. Anyway, have a nice day.